So there we are again. We're going to see a third way to create effects by adding filters and specifically generators. Generators are particle generators that can create objects, floating objects and things like snow and bubbles and things. So adding effects is the tutorial. We've seen here how we could key a character, move the position of the transforms using keyframes. Then we added layers where we had the background, sections of the background with ripples and a reflection of the character just by simply copying and pasting him and flipping the image and rotating it. Now we are going to open a new one, a new project. And I've already done mine, so you can just go ahead and say File, New Project, and call it Adding Effects. And I will find here my character. Yes, I believe it's him. It's a boy reading a book on a park bench. And I will find his painting, which is this one. It's a bit of a small painting. I can put it right underneath it this time and just stretch it. And I know when I key him, I will see the painting under. So let's go ahead and use the keying filter. And of course, the yellowish card here is not keying properly. So I'm going to go inside and use my matte tools and try to expand the effect of my keyer and go to my crop tool of the layer of my green screen and crop the left and the right and the top and the bottom to a certain extent. I can fix this with the masking tool that we will see in the next tutorial. So since my image here is not big enough and it's going to break up its pixels when I increase its size, I'm going to go ahead and select it and increase its size a little bit, maybe up to 130, 35, 34. And I'm going to select my green screen, go to my transforms inside my inspector, and go ahead and either select here my transforms, so I can go ahead and scale him and place him somewhere neatly on the bench. So that's pretty good. I'll say done. And I will start adding effects to him. The first effects I will find is in Stylize, and it's called Drop Shadow, and I'll just drop it on the green screen. I don't need to create an extra layer here. I will simply take the shadow, the direction of the shadow, as you can see. I will follow the pattern of the bench and the angles of where the light is going here and move it underneath. And if I go in my inspector and find the drop shadow filter. I will blur it a little bit more, and I will take the opacity and bring it down until it kind of fits the painting. What is nice here is if I move the picture and you see his umbrella is moving and he's moving, the shadow follows because it's based on the pixels of the character. So therefore I have a drop shadow that is making him look more realistic. Now what I want to add here is either a rain effect. Again, I don't know where to find the rain. Is it in stylized looks? So I will go to all filters here, and I will type in the search tool of my filters the word rain, which will bring me a couple of options for rain. There's droplets falling that I could use on the lake when I have a boy fishing. There I will take the rain and drop it in the background, and as you can see, it's raining everywhere except on the boy. So I will take the rain and drop it also on the boy, and so we have a full pattern of rain here. So that's one. What I could also do is go to my generators, so I can remove the word rain here simply to see all my filters again. But I don't need my filters. I'm going to go here on the right side, after the camera, after the soundtracks, after the dissolves, after the title tools, there is a tool called the generators, and that tool creates layers on top of my layer that are custom effects. Here I have, for instance, bubbles. If I drop bubbles on top of my character, I now have bubbles floating all around the complete composition randomly and with a speed and motion. So again, if I select the layer of the effect, I can see that I can affect the number, the scale, the speed. I'll increase the speed enormously, the randomness of how they appear, the opacity, bring that down to make them more transparent, and the drop-off blurriness of the bubble. So now you see I have a bunch of bubbles that are floating around in the scene, which is interesting. What is fun is I can also use different shapes. So in my bubbles here I have dust, floating dust. So if I use dust, then I will have a very different effect. You have floating dust that is affecting the image here all around, which is quite interesting. I can increase the scale of the dust so I can see more the particles. I have puffballs, and that should be fun. Maybe then I can decrease the scale because they're a bit big. I have moths, which is going to create a cloud of insects. Now, as you can see, the effect is affecting the whole composition inside and outside of my frame. If I decide to crop the effect to be kept within the painting, then I have to crop this top layer that I've just added. So these are the insects. They're flying all around. They're very small. I can also change their size. He's looking at the insects all floating all around. Sparks. So these are going to be like little flashing, like Luciole, you know, little light bugs floating around. That's interesting. It gives an aspect of magic into the painting, and the fact that it floats outside is is kind of interesting for me here. All I need to do then is add a title in the bottom portion here. Who is the painter or who is the artist that created this interpretation? And I can just simply play it back, and there we have this action. It's pretty good. I like it like that. So this is how we add extra effects or layers of effects using the generator. That is the next tool on the right side of our title tool. So just as a slight reminder, if we want to add a title to this composition, we can go to the title tool and choose any kind of built-in or out animated titles or bumpers, which are all animated creations that you can add, or credits, or lower thirds. In this case, I'll use a lower third because I want to name the painting. And I want to just add a title to this painting. So when I select the title, I just I drag the title on top and it appears here. So now if I click on the timeline, it's going to lock my player in position. Now I can take this title and double click. Let me remove this. This is just a date and time. It's not a title per se. I will just take an information bar here. And select it and drag it on top. I don't like that one either, so I'll delete it. Just press delete. I'm looking for a really simple title and description of my painting. So there I have a title, and if I select the name and double click on it, I can give it a name and I can move it. You can also animate it. There I select the second portion. There I'll just put name of student, and the student later can put his own name in. And so there is the title. And I can change the colors, change the, if there's a line around the title, or I can add a drop shadow or remove it, and change the typeset, the fonts. And so on and so forth. So there it is, adding generators or effects created by a particle generator that is found here into my paintings. Now, as my generator created an effect that's overlapping the whole composition, if I select it and go to my video, instead of my generator settings, I go to my video settings, I have the ability to crop the effects and contain them within the painting. So now I've selected a crop tool that is basically, you can see here the crop zone when I went here and I chose crop, and I can affect the exact, I can do it visually here on the screen if I go on the screen and select the crop tool right here. So now done, and we have cropped the effects to be contained within, and play back, and there we are. So that is the third tutorial. The rest will come when we're back in class. I will show you how to mask specifically and how to create more of the complex effects using paintings in different parts and animating parts of the painting, adding ripples and different effects like waterfalls and things that we can import and add to our painting layer. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.